that are committed to the same thing, causing something. So please help me welcome Justin.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction and for inviting me to this group and making this possible. My name is Justin. I'll follow the same introduction format that we started with. I was born and raised in Western Massachusetts in a town called Great Barrington in the Berkshires. And I now live in the Dominican Republic. I've been living here for just about the last 5 years. And my favorite TV show growing up was The Simpsons. I was obsessed with The Simpsons. My brother and I, we could quote every episode from season 1 through 10, the best episodes, the best seasons. And if I ever sound a little too cynical, it's probably why. Just that's deeply rooted in my language development. So I run a consulting practice called Abracadabra, which helps businesses adopt the correct technologies and the correct services to meet their online needs, typically specializing in e-commerce, but I've also worked a lot in community development, which I'll share a bit more about today, as well as live events and conferences, or even studio locations, restaurants, and cafes. I've worked in IT for close to 15 years and worked in software and operations for that time and helped connect all the tools that you would actually need to run pretty much any kind of business. And so when AI came along and sort of gave us all a superpower that amplifies our skill set and our knowledge and our experience, it's only become more fun and exciting for me to solve practical business problems with the right tools and the right amount of effort and attention to detail that a lot of business owners are struggling with. So many of us are, coached by or consulted by friends or colleagues, and they say, "Oh, you should do this. I heard this was really good, and you should do that, and this was really good." And a lot of people come to me saying, "Hey, I want to launch this thing on the internet or do this thing online. I heard that this was the best tool or that was the best tool, or somebody said I should sign up for this." And my job is typically step one saying, hold on, let's actually figure out what your problem is and actually figure out the goal that you have and the situation that you're trying to solve for. Because a lot of times tools are available for you that could even be free or lower cost or more easily accessible or easier to use, that solve a lot of those problems, if not all of those problems, and give you much more practical solutions to what it is that you're trying to build. So that's how I like to operate as an agency and as a consultant. Is I'm not going to sell you a piece of software unless I full-heartedly believe that it is the right software to solve your specific problem. And I never recommend anything that I think isn't going to scale for your specific situation for the, at least the next 2 to 5 years, because changing from a tool that's not working to a new one is a real hassle that I've experienced in my career. And I want to save people that time and frustration of having gone down the wrong path with the wrong tools and the wrong operation. So that's how I look at problems in businesses and work on software and operations. And since the dawn of, large language models like ChatGPT and AI, we have a whole new set of problems. People are now being made recommendations, told about software, reminded constantly that you should be getting up to speed with AI because you're falling behind this, that, and the other. And that fits very naturally with my consulting approach, which is, hold on, take a breath. Let's look at what you're actually trying to solve, what problems you're actually dealing with, and look at what the AI tools are truly capable of doing at this time, given your experience, skill level, and where you want to go with your business. Not everybody can adopt the fully automated agentic system of your dreams that only, does all of the work while you're sleeping and you only have to work an hour a week. A lot of times you'll see that stuff advertised on the internet, and for most people, it's not actually accessible yet. It's not something that just anybody can pick up and operate. And anyone who's promising you the ability to do that for just, the easy monthly payment of $999 for the rest of your life, they're probably doing this to about 10,000 other people who don't know any better. So I'd like to give people really practical, grounded information as to what AI can do for you and how you can actually get the most out of it without going insane, chasing tools, chasing best practices, chasing all of these sparkly things that we see on social media and internet. You must do this. If you're not doing that, you're behind, yada, yada, yada. Let's cut through all of that BS and talk about actually practically using AI for business solutions just from within the large language model of your choice, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever tool you're using. There's a lot that you can unpack with that tool that I bet you haven't thought of yet. And that's what we're going to get into today. So I'd like to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to check really quick if I have all the permissions to do that. Let's do the whole window so I can sort of hop around here.
Fantastic. Let me know if you have any issues.
Oh, I also want to preface, I've been getting over a cold lately. Unfortunately, in the DR, I've caught a couple different bugs and fevers in the last month. So if I need to mute momentarily to cough, to catch my breath, please forgive me. In fact, I'm going to take care of that really quick just to clear my. Okay, please excuse me. So I'm now looking at a Google slide. Can everybody see the Mastery of Networking Google slide that I have up front?
We can.
All right, great. So today's topic is stop chasing AI tools and start building a business AI can actually work with. So I'm curious, by show of hands, or take these questions to heart, think about them for a moment. Has any of the following things ever happened to you? You've gotten a great result by talking to an AI LLM for your business or for a personal development, but you haven't really been able to reproduce the same result again and again and again. Or does it sometimes feel like you're wrestling with AI and it even can take longer than just doing the thing yourself sometimes and asking the AI to do it for you? Or what if you've hit a wall in your understanding of AI and you don't know how to make the next task, the next process, the next evolution of using AI in your business work, right? Sometimes we feel like we hit a ceiling because there's so much information out there and it's difficult to navigate and know where to go next. Maybe you've been feeding your business information into AI, but now you're juggling numerous documents and finding yourself repeating yourself every single time you want to talk to an AI system. And maybe your business partners and your team are all working with AI differently. You're all trying to work on the same business and solve different problems together, but you're getting different and inconsistent results. I heard a little ding earlier. Is that a hand raise?
That means somebody's got their hand up. So let's take a look. It's Dion. Dion had his hand up, but he's taking it back down. Keep going.
Okay. Let's try to save questions till the end, but if you really have a hard question during the presentation, feel free to raise and we'll try to address it. And lastly, maybe that was the hand raise saying you recognize some of these, sorry. And maybe you subscribe to another AI tool to help your business and you're paying for some service, but you found it's not always as helpful as you wanted it to. And maybe it's only really doing one or two things for you more efficiently, but it's costing you an extra $19 a month to help you create that, Microsoft PowerPoint presentation. Is it really worth it? And so then to solve your problem, to solve these issues that you're dealing with, you might try a couple different things. You might subscribe to another AI tool to help your business to solve smaller and more niche problems. You might scroll through social media looking at the different AI coaches and tips and tricks accounts that you follow to try to collect more ideas and try to look at new resources and see if you can crack a new puzzle with AI that you haven't been able to approach before. And maybe you sign up for another weekend Master AI in 2 days workshop webinar hosted from anywhere in the world that teaches you generalized strategies and what new pay-to-play tools are available in the market for content creation or business management. And you're in that same cycle. You're getting a generalized view of AI, picking up a couple of extra tips and tricks, and seeing all new services that you have to start paying for to transcribe your meetings, create the voiceover that you want for your videos, or to help the editing of your podcast. And, $20 subscription after $20 subscription after $20 subscription per month start adding up. It doesn't always solve all the problems you want. Well, so again, just to repeat, my name is Justin Dudek. I founded Abracadabra back in 2018 to help people solve real world business problems in IT and operations. I've got 15 years in technical project management training and startup operations, dating all the way back to 2012 in my career, helping e-commerce companies scale technically and operationally from as small as 3 as scaling as large as 250 employees, going, multinational, multi-channel, not just e-commerce, but even shifting into retail, consumer packaged goods and things like that. I've had my hands on every part of a business's growth and operations from the perspective of IT, project management, and operations. So now I consult on AI in assisting in those processes, in assisting in those systems and operations. And I also provide coaching and education with AI, as I've been working with it ever since ChatGPT became publicly available in 2022. I was always the guy in the company, on the teams, who they said, we need you to learn as much as you can about this tool and help everybody else in the company understand how to use it and use it practically. So I've always had my hands in this stuff as soon as LLMs became more commonplace for us and publicly available. And so I help businesses adopt AI practically, not with, software and application demos and, new services to purchase, and not with the hype, not over promising and under delivering these fully autonomous agentic systems that will do everything you want in just a matter of hours and you can go sleep on a beach every day. Again, that's not available for every type of person, every type of business at this time. I know that when we look into the future of AI, it's a big uncertainty box and things will become far more automated than they are today. But that doesn't mean that we can get all of those types of advantages if we start working on AI in our business today. And that's where I like to keep things really grounded and understanding what you can do today to start seeing the business advantages. I also started an education community here in Cabarete, Dominican Republic, on artificial intelligence. We started this back in August of 2025, and we have now close to 200 members in our WhatsApp group. And we've had up to 50 attendees show up in a single session. We run 2 AI meetup groups per month and an additional afternoon on a weekend beachside, how to get started with AI for beginners and co-working sessions. So we've been doing roughly 3 sessions per month where I've presented, I've taught best practices, I've introduced new concepts and tools. We've had other presenters here who are working in artificial intelligence and using it for their businesses. And it's been a great collaborative community to understand where people are, where they're going, who's accelerating, how are they accelerating, and getting to know your neighbor who's using AI, to ask them for advice, to ask them for the next steps to move along your AI journey. But what I hear from these 200 people and the people that I meet at this meetup all the time is the same frustrations over and over again. And that's not random. Everyone right now who's in that process of adopting AI for their business is going through the same situations, right? Trying to understand what this thing is. So what I'm finding is that the real problem isn't the tool that people are using, it's how we think about AI and approach it as a problem-solving tool, as a problem-solving agent. But we often fixate on tools because we grew up in an age of software. Oh, you want to fix something in your business, you want a new feature in your business, you have to get the next tool. So we assume that it's the same relationship, but AI is proving to be very different from every other tool we've ever used. And so for my community, I started to focus on mindset. How we think about interacting with AI changes the way we use it and unlocks more potential than if we just say, don't use that tool, use that tool instead. There's a diminishing return if you focus on tools. Now, a lot of what we consume on the internet in terms of where we learn about AI or get ideas about AI, for me, comes from social media. I don't know if you're following AI pages on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on LinkedIn. A lot of the AI content that we see that's just going through our news feed and our stream of content, it's more so designed to scare you rather than it is designed to inform you. For instance, how many of you have ever heard the expression, you're already behind if you're not using this? Well, the truth is, you're not behind. In the grand scheme of things, less than 1% of the world population is like actively involved in artificial intelligence and in the process of integrating it into their business. Close to 99% of the world's population barely uses artificial intelligence. So if you're here today, you're ahead of the curve. You can relax, okay? If you're practicing and getting better every day, just a little bit, you're doing great. Keep it up. Don't be afraid of everybody passing you right now. How many of you have heard that every time a feature comes along from ChatGPT just released a new model, Claude just released this, Gemini just did this, someone comes online and says, that thing you were doing yesterday, it's completely obsolete. It doesn't even matter anymore because the new thing is shiny and amazing. It's going to solve all your problems. And you shouldn't even do the old thing anymore. It's a waste of time. None of that's true. It's all hype. It's all headlines. It's what captures your attention and gets you worried. Oh my God, I got to go faster. Oh my God, I got to keep up. This is moving 10,000 miles an hour. Now, don't get me wrong. AI is moving very fast, but it doesn't help to think that you have to be moving as quickly as possible to actually learn these tools, understand them, and bring them into your business practices. And there's always the debate, the war. Which one's better? Which one's stronger? Which one just released a new thing that made the other one obsolete? It's noise. Again, it's hype, it's headlines, it captures clicks and likes. It isn't designed to educate you, it isn't designed to teach you. So, because people are going to these types of sources and getting their information about AI from headlines and news articles that are, again, designed to capture your attention, not necessarily educate you, people are approaching this with some questions that I think are the wrong questions to be asking. They always say, what's the best AI tool that I should be using to get ahead, right? Because they see an Instagram feed and it's always this new tool, that new tool, this new tool. That new tool is dead. The new one's just arrived. This is the evolution of AI. And then 2 months later, it's a whole nother tool and it's a whole nother tool. So people are fixating on this tool mindset rather than settling into really understanding what is AI. The honest answer is the tool's not going to unlock your potential. A new app that just launched and performs this business function most likely isn't even going to exist in 18 months. The truth is that every tool that we are sold to handle our marketing, handle our email, organize our documents, organize this, build that, most of the major players like ChatGPT, Claude, and Google Gemini, they're just cannibalizing those tools and bringing them into their very ecosystem that already exists. So if you go out and buy a premium tool, it's not even going to be relevant in the next 6 to 18 months because it's going to become a native feature within the tools that you're already using. So why chase that down when you can just really study the tools that you're already using? So again, you typically are looking at business tasks and the problems in your business like they're nails that need to be stamped down, right? You have a to-do list every day. I got to take care of this. I got to take care of this. I got to take care of this. And we're thinking that AI is a tool like a hammer that's supposed to slap down each of those nails, knock off each of those checklist to-do items one at a time. And that's not actually what this system does. It can be used that way, but it's not the most effective way to use artificial intelligence. And it doesn't require a new piece of software in order to get the benefit out of using AI. You need to start thinking about using AI in a different way, not like a hammer. So for my community, I started to talk to people about these mindsets, about approaching artificial intelligence differently to try to enhance your thinking, change your perspective, think about using AI for a different approach to problem solving than we traditionally think about using a tool to solve a problem, a hammer to put in a nail. And so I shared this with my community back in March, these 7 levels of working with AI, thinking about AI in different abstractions, thinking about working with AI in different levels of abstractions. And we're not going to go through all 7 of these in depth in this meeting, but I'm just going to give you a little bit of a primer as to what these different ways of thinking are. A lot of people first interact with AI simply by searching, right? You treat your LLM, your ChatGPT, like it's Google, and you'll get a result. But you search for the same thing the next day and you get a different result. And you're only using AI one search at a time, one question, one answer. And a lot of times that gets frustrating pretty fast. So most people graduate past that framework of thinking, that framework of problem solving with AI, and they moved into prompt thinking, where you learn that the way that you ask the question, the way that you phrase the issue that you're working on starts to get a different result, starts to get a more comprehensive answer. And you'll start thinking, how do I make the prompt get what I want rather than just searching like it's your regular Google search? And you start to put together prompts more and more. Typically, the social media content that you see online that teaches you tips and tricks about how to use AI, they live in these 2 realms. They live in the realm of here's an excellent prompt, right? I see this one all the time. So forgive me if this is redundant for any of you. I see Claude can now solve your financial reporting like Warren Buffett's personal, stock portfolio trading consultant. And all it is a prompt that says, I want you, the AI, to behave like Warren Buffett. That's not a system within Claude. That's not a system within ChatGPT that's just been discovered. That's a prompt. It's a really big prompt. It's a thorough prompt. And so maybe in this level, you're starting to realize, cool, prompts really help, right? The way we talk to the AI really helps. I got to start collecting prompts, but that only takes you so far. Eventually, we start looking at context, the environment with which the AI is looking at information, where it's getting the information, the things that you feed into the conversation with AI that are relevant to solving the problem that you're working on. And you're no longer thinking, I write a really big prompt and get one answer, but now you're staging the AI. Oh, I need you to think about my audience. I need you to think about my business's strategy before answering my question. So we start feeding context. And then as you graduate past context, you start thinking in workflow. You're connecting prompts. You're connecting this troubleshooting into sequences. And you're looking at AI as a part of your process for solving more and more complex problems. Then you evolve into process thinking. You start thinking documents that work, builds, and you start thinking about repeatable routines and systems for your business. The step-by-step process for creating an email newsletter, whether you have AI or not, is the same. So how can you start adapting AI into your systems and processes and checklists to get the results? As we go further and further down the line, we start thinking in systems and we start thinking in architecture. These are very advanced levels of abstraction where you start to look at an entire business, an entire operation, and plug departments together, plug everything together so that AI systems are talking to other AI systems, and your entire team has access to these workflows, processes, and systems. My instructions to my community didn't go into level 6 and 7. We only went through the first 5, but I created a full guide of best practices for how to prompt AI and start approaching your work with AI in these different systems. And this here is a working link to that file. It's a 40-page document that teaches you how to move from a searching mindset to a prompting mindset to a context mindset to a workflow mindset, and the different things and the different approaches you can take to move into these different ways of thinking. So that document's going to be available for all of you after this call. Don't worry about it. You'll get a lot of information there. But today I actually want to go further. I'm starting to even think about this process a little bit differently. I'm starting to simplify this further. And that's what I want to experiment with you all today. The best part of this approach about changing your mindset is that none of it depends on the tool that you use. It's entirely on how you approach problem solving, how you think about AI as a tool and how it can be utilized. Then it doesn't matter if you're on ChatGPT. Then it doesn't matter if you're on Claude or Gemini or DeepSeek or any other tool. The principles of problem solving apply to any of the tools. So instead of diving into all those 7 different mindsets, you have that document to review later on best practices to how to start working with AI that way. But if you were to walk away from this call today, what's the 2 or 3 things that I would say are the most important things to know that you can practically implement before you even read that best practices document? Let's start with some foundations. 1, I hear everybody asking, what's the tool to use? What's the right tool to use? That's the wrong question. Pick one LLM, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, whatever your preference is, commit to it. Work in one environment, stick to it. Learn everything you can about that one tool. Every tool has their own little advantages and shortcomings. Every tool is advancing and accelerating and evolving rapidly. So if you're like, oh, ChatGPT has that feature, but Gemini doesn't, wait 2 months, wait 5 months, wait a year, and Gemini is going to come out with the same features or better features than the one that you're chasing over there and chasing over there. Stick with one, really learn it. It's going to make a difference in your ability to use AI, because if you switch tools, you're resetting your understanding, your orientation, and your learning process every single time. If you get deep familiarity and fluency with one tool, you'll be a lot better and perform much more strongly and effectively compared to using 5, 6, 7 different tools at the same time. And the platform that you could choose and stick with, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, all the major ones, they're good enough. They all cover the bases that we're going to be talking about later in this conversation and can solve major, major business problems for you without having to switch to the next one, without having to spread yourself across so many different tools. So step 1, pick one tool and go with it. And then this one is often overlooked. Foundation step number 2, read what those tools already gave you. Stop going on social media to learn strategies, tips, and tricks. OpenAI, ChatGPT, Anthropic, Claude, Google Gemini, and all of the tools have entire knowledge base sections, videos, recordings, tutorials, guides, instructions, huge, huge libraries of information that they, the company, curate for you to teach you about their product. When I'm at my AI community meetup here in Cabarete, and I ask people, hey, have you gone through Claude's fundamentals of AI, usage? Have you tried Anthropic Academy? Have you looked at the Google AI Skills Hub to learn how AI develops agents and skills? They're like, no. And I'm like, but you use these tools. Yeah. So where do you learn about these tools? YouTube videos? From the source? No, I follow this guy on the internet or this girl, on Instagram. Well, wait a minute. There's libraries of documentation that are free and structured by the creators. And most people never even go through these tutorials to master and really understand every nook and cranny of these tools. So I always have to come back to this basic, recommendation. If you really want to learn how to use AI and use AI in your business, go to the source. Don't pay for services. Don't pay me. Don't pay for another online program to teach you until you've gone through all of these tools that are already available to you from the AI that you use. This list here could maybe be 2 months out of date already, and there's probably more tools from these providers already available. So again, I'll send these slides around and you'll have links directly here, but a simple Google search, OpenAI Academy, Anthropic Academy, you'll find all the documentation you would need to really understand what these tools can do for you. And sit down and go through them. Take a weekend and study the tool by the people building the tool. And don't spend so much time chasing after tips and tricks and guides put out by other people. The truth is most guides that people share with you and exchange an email subscription for and, comment, guide in my DMs and I'll, subscribe you to my newsletter. We really need more newsletters come into our inbox every day to sell us something. They'll send you a guide. They wrote those things with AI. They wrote their guide on how to use Claude by going to Claude and saying, write me a guide on how to use Claude. And then they format it as a PDF and send it to you. Why not just go to the source? It's so much better. It's so much better. It's designed by an entire education department to teach you as effectively as possible. But most people don't do this. It surprises me in the community all the time. Then I want to get into a principle, okay? Because we got to start thinking differently about AI. And that's cliche. Maybe you're going to say, wait, I hear that all the time. You got to think differently about it. What does that mean? I'm going to, from this point forward, show you what the point at the end of the map looks like and hopefully connect enough dots for you to get there and say, okay, now I see how I could approach this differently, okay? That's my goal from here on forward with this principle. The AI becomes valuable as a factor of what it knows about you. Your business's history is the most valuable thing you have. Your experience as a business owner and operator is the most valuable thing you have for AI to work with and then use on your business in supporting your business. So your business history is AI's raw material to work with and help you develop. So the last 12 newsletters you sent to your customers, a gold mine of information. The last 12 customer service situations that you navigated, a gold mine of information. The last 12 monthly reports you created, the last 12 social posts you published, the last 12 contracts that you had to write and review for partnerships, the last 12 client onboarding or wrap-up meetings. All of this is your business's intellectual property, and it's what the AI can really thrive with if you give it to it correctly and sort of train the AI in understanding what these things are and how you operate your business. So how can we use your business's history to start seeing some better results? The truth is if you have a task that's a routine, like an email newsletter, AI can help you accelerate it, right? This is the hammer and the nail, but we don't want to just use a hammer. We want a slightly more sophisticated, like electric hammer or drill that's going to work even better than just a general hammer. So let's first turn AI into a drill or an electric hammer with a task that you already have to do. What can you do to speed that up? Let's use the email newsletter sample. Everybody has to be writing a newsletter or a LinkedIn post or an article or a blog article or a social media post. It applies across the board, anything written especially. What you can do is you can give AI a downloadable PDF, a copy of your last 12 newsletters that you wrote. All the text, all the formatting. Here's the last 12 emails I sent out to my customer base. You then ask AI, how would you describe what I'm saying in these emails? Not the content of the email, but the voice, the tone, the style with which I communicate. And AI is going to give you an answer and say, oh, you sound formal. You sound semi-formal. You like to use emojis to be expressive. You don't use any emojis because you're trying to sound authoritative and competent, or you're an educator, or you're trying to teach principles. It's going to identify, based on a pattern of the last 12 newsletters that you wrote, what it is to sound like you and your brand. So then you can use that information and say to AI, okay, knowing what I sound like, give me a prompt that I can use to generate and create the next newsletter that I need to write so that it sounds like me, okay? Sounds like my business. And this is how you turn a hammer into an electric hammer, hammer into a drill. Because now when you use that prompt that the AI gives you to write your next newsletter, it's more likely going to get it right. It's more likely going to give it to you in the formatting and the style and the tone and voice of your brand. You're going to have to do less editing. You're going to have to do less refinement on it. It's going to speed up that process significantly. A hot tip, if you ever don't know what prompt you need to get a result, ask your AI to give you the prompt. I need to create a document for XYZ. What is the best prompt that I can use to create such a document for XYZ? The AI will teach you. The AI will show you. It'll build the prompt for you. You don't have to go out to the tips and tricks Instagram page and copy someone else's work. You can develop all of your own prompts for all of your own specific tasks and needs simply by asking AI. You feed it information that it needs to know. The last 12 emails you wrote, the last 12 customer service cases, the last 12 reports that you've done. So it learns and understands what it's like to work on your business, what it's like to format documents the way that you need them done. And then you say, build me a prompt around this framework using this information from all of my history. And you're going to get a prompt that works way better for your business and for your specific tasks. So let's break this down a little bit further. If you hired someone to write every email for your business, what is it that you would need them to know? What would they actually need to know to successfully write an email newsletter for you in which you don't have to go back and say, no, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, rewrite it, redraft it, you missed this information. Okay, let's go down that list really quick. In order to write a successful email newsletter on your behalf, if you hired someone to do it, they would have to know what your business does and what it sells, right? They would have to know who your customers are, the audience, the demographics. Are you talking to teenagers? Are you talking to mature adults? Are you talking to business professionals in a specific industry? That's going to be helpful information when you're writing an email so that you're approaching the right audience. They're going to want to be able to emulate the sound of your brand, the sound of your company, the voice, the tone, the level of professionalism, the level of, relaxation, the level of education, the level of, scientific input and things like that. All those different tones and personality, I guess, demographics are helpful in writing the email to sound the way that you want. They're going to need to know how you sell from your email, right? Do you refer people to landing pages? Do you have a referral affiliate system? Do you send people to an e-commerce website in which there's products that they'd have to be able to click on and add to cart and all those things? If I'm writing you an email to help you sell a product, I need to know, where do they go? How do they get to the actual point of sale? They're going to need to know other relevant links, right? How am I going to know to send a customer from an email to your checkout policies website, right? Or the page on your website about checkout policies or shipping policies or refund policies, right? If I want to go reference the shipping policies, by the way, the Mother's Day sale is happening now to guarantee delivery of your product in time for Mother's Day. Make sure to order by such and such a date because we only offer 2-day shipping is the fastest available shipping, right? That's important information when you're writing an email newsletter to sell a product. They're going to need to know your refunds and whatever guarantees your company promises with that product or services, right? Your policies. They're going to be able to, or have to look this information up to make sure that the email reflects all of the correct information about your business. And they might even want to include a testimonial at the bottom of that email that says, this is what a nice customer has said about us after they receive this product or other similar products. Here's a 5-star review, right? Adds social proof, adds trust. Those are great things to include in an email newsletter. But all of that information, all of these items don't just serve an email newsletter, right? This is important information for so much more in your business. It doesn't just write emails. When it's properly organized, this information, your customer service agents or responses are aligned, right? They have all the correct information to be able to reference. The person creating your social media posts, they need this information. This is all helpful to them as well. Anytime someone on your team is writing a project proposal, this information is useful. Terms of service, refunds, policies, things like that. Partnership agreements, if you're going to be working with affiliates or teaming up with someone on social media, having an understanding about what your business is from back to front is going to help you write an effective agreement. If you're going to do paid advertising copy on Facebook or Instagram or Google Ads, almost any repeating business task that you have to do benefits from all of that information that I just outlined and more. So now it's time to think like an architect, right? And the architect skill or the architect mindset that I outlined before was designing AI integrated workflows for other people and teams, right? No matter who in your business you work with, no matter who you delegate to, they need that information. They need to know what your business is, what it sells, what are the services, what are the products, what are the policies. Well, guess what? When you delegate to AI, it's going to need all that information too. And there's a way to prepare that information that's way more effective than one prompt at a time, right? The example prompt was, teach me about my tone of voice. Give me the prompt about how to make an email newsletter that sounds like me. Okay? That's the wrong assumption, though. You need one master prompt with everything in it, right? Like, this is everything you need to know about my business. Now make me a marketing plan, right? Now make me a customer service response. That's a lot of information that you're copying and pasting into every prompt every single time, and it becomes overwhelming. And how do you know that if you're copying that information into your AI, is your team member doing the same thing? Are they using the same information that you are? Or are they copying from a different source, right? Where are they keeping their records from? So why this fails? The AI only wants to work with the information that's most relevant to the task, right? A person, you can email all this information to a person who's writing your email newsletter, and they know that's irrelevant for this email. I don't have to pay attention to that. AI doesn't. If you give information to AI and say, find within this information that which is relevant to the task, the AI still has to scan everything. And that changes the response. That also uses a lot of context and tokens on your account. Tokens cost money. Tokens are essentially the amount of data that the AI has to process in the context and the information that the AI is generating and giving you as an output. There's a limited amount of resource that the AI can use in a conversation in your subscribed paid account. There's a limitation to how much you can ask AI to do and analyze for you in a given session, which could be hours or weeks or months. And if you start giving AI everything all of the time in one giant prompt, you're going to burn through those tokens and at some point hit a limit at the end of the week. And, ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini are going to call you and say, hey, I can't do any more work for you until you add your credit card to this and start paying extra. So it's inefficient. It's also large and unfocused. If you say, here's everything you need to know about my business, now write me an email newsletter, that's actually going to lower the quality of the response from the AI because it's using information, it's referencing and analyzing information that's not related to the task of the email newsletter that it's being asked to produce. So you can make a really cool, electric drill. But now you're thinking you just use this electric drill all the time. Well, electric drills run out of batteries, and then you're going to have to go charge that battery and put it down, and then you can't do any more work, right? Because it's approaching everything like a screw now. It's just a more advanced hammer. It's a little bit better but it's not the long-term solution for you and your business. So here's what I do. I create one individual document for each of those different domains. And each of those documents contains at the top of that document, what is this document for? What is the intended purpose of the information within this document? So you create one document that's brand, voice, and tone. And at the top, it says, this document should be referenced when creating content. And at the top of the products and services, you say, this document should be used when writing about offerings or pricing of services and products. This document should be used when discussing refunds, guarantees, or terms of service with customers and policies. This document should be used when addressing and communicating to your business's audience, the customer profiles. Lead and sales funnels. Reference this document when linking a piece of content to your lead generation funnel or the sale of a product or service. Customer testimonials. Reference this when writing about what our customers are saying about our business, services, or products. Or even case studies. Reference this when describing a positive outcome from our products or services. Each of these are standalone documents. Each of these fill in that information about their respective topics, okay? The products and services list every one of your products and services in detail. The customer policy list every one of your customer policies in detail, okay? And what that lets you do is you can prompt AI and say, hey, go to my brand, voice, and tone document to write my email, and reference the products and services document when talking about a product in that email. You can connect ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Google, all of that stuff to your Google Drive, to your Dropbox, whatever file management system you use. Even on desktop, if you save these files on the desktop, laptop, computer that you're using, and you give permission to your AI to go and look in these places, it can go and look up the information within that file for you. So then if my Claude account has access to my Google Drive for my business, and I say, I need to write an email newsletter, go look up brand, voice, and tone, the AI is like, absolutely. Let me go and read the information in brand, voice, and tone before I begin writing your email for you. Now you're not repeating tons of information every time you have to write a long prompt. You don't have to write long prompts anymore. But it even goes further than this. Okay, let's look at how we can think about this differently. How would AI want to work with this information? Well, you create one more document above everything else that puts everything together. You call it your AI operator or your business operator or your routing service. And that document lists all of these other documents within it. And you reference that one file ID or the URL for each of the documents. If you have a Google Drive, each of those individual brand, voice, and tone, products and services, customer policies, documents, they each have their own unique URL to share and an identification number that's usually like 24 characters long. Rather than tell AI, go search for this, just give it the ID. The brand and voice and tone document can be found at this ID. That way, the AI knows exactly where to go to find what it's looking for. And next to each of the documents, you give it a description of what that document is intended for. It's the same description that opens the brand, voice, and tone document, but you just put it in the AI operator file. So that way, when your AI looks at the AI operator file and says, I need to look up brand and voice and tone for an email, it'll say, this is what that file is used for. Let me go inside that file. Is it the same? Yes, that's what the document is used for. Cool, I have a match. I have the exact information I'm supposed to use to perform this task. And then you start prompting like this. Write a newsletter promoting our holiday 2-for-1 offer on X product. Look up the relevant context in my AI operator document. Done. That's all you have to write to the AI because the AI, if it has access to your documents, will go to the AI operator file and say, oh, I'm writing a newsletter. I need the following information in order to write an effective newsletter. Oh, they're mentioning promotions. Let me double check what the refund policy is about sales items, right? The AI will know how to navigate this. All of them do. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. This is how they think. This is how AI approaches problem solving. So you're putting in less information with each prompt. You're using fewer tokens, and you're consistently getting the same results because AI is always referencing the same information that you already vetted, that you already made sure was accurate in your documents. You're writing shorter prompts and you're not copy pasting things anymore. You're using less tokens, which means you get more output from your account before having to spend more money, and you're getting consistent results. But here's the amazing part about this, and this can be done for every business as long as you share your documents with AI. Guess what? It's scalable. You need more information. You need more documents. Cool. Just update your routing system. Just update your AI operator document so it knows where the new information is. And you can share this system across your entire team. If everybody in your company has access to the same Google Drive and the same collection of documents, you're all prompting AI with the same consistent information as everybody else. No one's guessing what the services are that you use or provide. No one's guessing how to describe the products that you sell. Everybody's working with the same information. And best of all, do you need to update that information for everybody in your team? You only have to update one place, that one library of the AI operator in every document that it needs to reference. And then the best part, I love this part, this is agnostic to the platform. Every AI thinks this way. Every AI works with documents this way. So it doesn't matter if you use ChatGPT. It doesn't matter if you use Claude. If you get kicked out of one of those accounts, if their policies change and they can no longer service your business because they're not allowed to talk about health information or legal documents or whatever, or if they raise their prices on you because they can no longer provide services for so cheap, guess what? You have your architecture saved in your business's filing system. Just move it over to the next guy. Move it over to the next system that actually meets your business's needs in terms of pricing and speed and policies and things like that. You are now in control of the information that your AI is referencing, and you can take it anywhere. You can use it anywhere. And trust me when I say, as AI advances, as agentic AI and automations become more and more user-friendly for you to be interacting with and implementing without ever having done a single computer science class or programming course or anything, agents and automations are going to love this filing system. It shows the agent, the AI, where it needs to go for the information that's relevant to the task. This will scale as AI advances. So you're building an ecosystem for your business the way that AI thinks. You're thinking about how AI thinks and will continue to think in the years to come. You'll stop thinking about how do I get a new tool, and you'll start thinking about how can I make my filing system that much smarter for AI, that much more consistent, that much more accurate. That's how you start thinking differently about using AI. So the question I leave you with is, when you're solving a problem with AI, ask yourself, what would your AI need to succeed at the task? What information does it need? And instead of copying and pasting that information every single time, build a library that your AI can reference forever and that you only have to update in one place, and everybody on your team can use it. And you'll be seeing a multiplying effect inside your business. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Before I shut that recording off, what are your questions? Yeah, buts, what abouts? But Jason, and I want to say one thing, I'm going to add something to Jason, okay, over time is as a business coach, consistency beats creativity every day of the week. So if you're consistent with what you're giving your AI instead of all over the map, right? If you consistently feed them the same prompts, you feed them the same information, you have a knowledge base like Justin's talking about. It's just the perfect way to make sure that your AI has everything it wants. That's brilliant, Justin. I have them. I just haven't been calling them that. And that is so smart. I'm going to start calling them that because I have these silos of knowledge bases about different things that we're up to. Just like Susie and I create this document called the project overview document for everything that we take on.
Yeah.
So that we could just feed that document into whatever AI we happen to be working on at the time so that it has the context of this particular event and why we're running it and what's great about it and who's working on it and who should be acknowledged for it. Like we just have all the information in there, right? So it's just really so great. So what other what about, but I was thinking about this. What do you think about that, Justin's? Do you have for him before we let him go? Because he has several other events today, I know. Anybody have anything? It just tells you did a really good job. All right, Jennifer, please go ahead.
First of all, thank you, Justin. What a wonderful presentation. And I think that playing with the tools with the LLMs. I basically use ChatGPT. But I've been hearing wonderful things about Claude. Of course, your advice is that we stick with one of the tools. But I wanted to play with them just to see which one will fit what I'm trying to do. And I think that I'm lacking in those prompting skills. So what would your advice be apart from, of course, feeding the right information to it? Like, is there a way that we can practice those prompts, or it's just like a trial and error thing? I'm not thinking specifically for something business related. So, for example, like I said, when I work with customers that are trying to make that transition into e-commerce, but I'm thinking more of other things that I can use it with. Especially in my case, since I am a translator, sometimes um I'm thinking about my other clients in other areas. How can I adjust that, and how can I improve those prompts?
Yeah, excellent question. And I do absolutely encourage experimentation with other tools, especially across the large models. But what I'm trying to deter people from reacting to feeling like the model they've chosen is completely wrong and it's dead and the next one just dominated and took over. It's like that's an AI arms race that's going to be going on for the next few years as they all evolve and get better. So I encourage you to go check out Claude. I happen to like Claude a lot. It's my primary AI. But when someone adds an extra widget out there like this AI will automate all of your email services, or this AI will automate all of your Google Meeting summaries and transcripts and stuff like that. That's chasing a little bell or a whistle. That's almost unnecessary. Like, sit in one of the larger ecosystems and really learn how to do it. When it comes to improving prompting and interacting with AI, nothing trumps practice. Nothing trumps experimenting, getting AI to work on things that you've never asked it to work on before. And that's not the only answer I'm going to give you, but anyone who's ever felt a hesitation about, I don't feel like I'm getting enough out of AI prompting, the answer is never to stop prompting AI. The answer is to continue to interact with AI. Every time you have a more complicated or a different kind of conversation with AI, you're going to learn its limitations. You're going to learn the way that it likes to solve certain problems. You're going to see patterns, and you're going to start to identify where the value is and where it meets what you need and where it might not be capable of meeting what you need right now. But then I want to go back to the concept of if you want to get better at prompting, ask AI how to prompt, right? The AI systems, the LLMs are trained on their own data. They know how their systems work. All of those guides I linked to about how to use Claude, how to use ChatGPT, the AIs read all of that stuff and are trained on it. They know how to describe their own information. They know how to deliver information to you in a format that the AI will gladly accept and run with and accelerate. So a great technique is, I have this problem, right? This is the task I'm working on. This is the problem that I have. I don't know how to solve this problem. Don't solve the problem for me, AI. Help me understand how to ask you about the problem in the best way. And there's a couple different techniques that you can use. You can ask your AI to ask me questions to respond to get to the root cause of the problem. Ask me questions so that you fully understand the problem that I haven't yet shared with you. And you're going to be having an interesting back and forth conversation with an LLM. And then at the end, you say, okay, so if I wanted to solve a problem like this again, what prompt would you use to walk through this education/coaching experience that I just had with you as the AI? And the AI will give you a prompt. And that prompt is going to have a lot of detail. Excuse me. I want you to educate me. I want you to teach me about principles, not give me the answer. I want you to ask me questions and interview me to make sure that I fully share what the root cause of the problem is before working on the problem. And then all you have to do is fill in the gap, right? Put in the details about the problem that you do have. The rest of the information is there. You give it to the AI, and now the AI is coaching you on the problem, walking you step by step down the pathway.
In there, Jason? Sorry, Justin.
Sorry?
Can I put something in about that? Because there's something about that that's really cool. So you guys, many of you, okay, have pure gold that drips out of your mouth when you're doing things and when you're leading events and when you're teaching people things. And now with AI, instead of taking your time to walk through people on certain things, you can actually create, something in your AI to do it for you, right? In this case, I'm just going to give you one simple example. My team and we teach people how to disappear upset in 5 minutes. So when you learn this process and you use this process, you can disappear whatever upset you have in 5 minutes. So you can go and actually take actions that won't be detrimental to what you're committed to. Okay. Because we all know if you take actions while in upset, they're 100% detrimental to whatever it is you're committed to. Right. So we used to bring them onto onto a Zoom like this and teach everybody and blah, blah, blah. And then I went and put everything into ChatGPT that you do in order to win at this exercise. And then I started supplying that GPT to people to do it instead. So now instead of taking our time to teach people how to disappear upset, all we have to do is give them this tool and say, okay, open it up, tell it what you're upset about. It's going to walk you through doing the most powerful exercise for getting upset, right? Oh, it reminds me, Susie, tell me to add something because I realize it's not making people say I am 100% responsible out loud. And we have to make sure that it says to people to say it out loud. So remind me to add that to the GPT. But again, I just gave it all the knowledge we could give it. And now 6 of my people don't have to train and develop people how to disappear upset. We can just give them the tool to do it. And you and I all know if people weren't walking around upset, we would have a better world. There wouldn't be things like war and there wouldn't be things like, all the crappy stuff that doesn't work because people are upset. So I give that away free. Why? Because I want an upset-free world. But it's even easier now that I have a GPT that can do all that work for us. It's just an example. That's just one concept that I train people in. You can take everything you train people in and do the same thing. Or you can take everything you need to know. Let me give you one other example because I think these examples are effective, right, Justin? Examples are always good, right? Another example is that the World Referral Network has something called the Business Breakthrough Blueprint. And what it will do is you go onto this webpage, you answer all the questions, and then we feed it into a GPT that we've built with our 10x system. All right. And out will pop an analysis of exactly where the biggest gaps are and what you should go on to work on first. And what within our system you can use for free to have you do that in order to win at the game called bringing in more leads and closing more business. So whatever you can do to, what I love this part, automate, delegate, or systemize everything that you do, especially everything you don't like to do, you ought to be doing it. All right, Justin, anything you want to say to wrap this up so I can stop the actual recording?
No, pardon. That's just a great closure, right? I follow the principle now of if there's anything I have to do more than once, I never want to have to do it more than once. So how do I get my AI to do it?
Yeah.
And I've started to approach business problems. Okay, it just so happens today I had to put together a presentation for this call. So for the week, I said, how can I build a system with AI that'll put this entire Google Slides presentation together for me with all of the right content branded in the style of my company? Mm-hmm. And I spent several hours creating a system to do that. And I took 60 minutes of my own notes on how to write this presentation of what I actually wanted to say, fed it through my AI, and that Google Slides that you just saw is what came out roughly 90 minutes later. So I was able to completely automate the process of ever doing a presentation
being,
again.
Every time you get asked to speak now, you've got it built and ready to go, right? Yeah.
And I conduct my own research. I have my systems for collecting research. I write these things myself. I want to be adamant about not just handing and relinquishing all, knowledge over to AI. Like, this is my own experience, but I hate formatting a Google slide and spending hours and tinkering on moving the link here and moving the link there. Now I do it in 15 minutes.
It's probably a good thing to mention too, Justin, that there are things that you do that you guys like to do. It's okay if you don't want to automate the stuff you love to do, especially if someone's paying you to do it. It's perfectly fine. Okay.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is all the stuff you don't like to do. Like, for example, I like doing my own social media sometimes, but there are pieces of doing my own social media that I don't like doing. Right. Or pieces that there's just AI to do it faster. Susie and I were working on the social media for the Project Abundance business summit, which I'll talk to you about in a few minutes. But while we were doing it, we were just creating images, and then we were throwing the images into Canva, and then we were making those images into videos, and we were having so much fun doing it that before we even realized it, a whole hour had gone by because we were making these things and we were having fun making them, right? Now, all of that can be automated. All of it can. But we were just happy to be having fun doing it. Okay, so it's not that it can't be automated, but like Justin says, it takes time to set up and a little intellectual effort, people. Too bad, so sad. You got to put in a little intellectual effort into your business. All right.
Yeah, building that framework of documents is not going to take you 10 minutes, but it's going to turn every other future creation with AI into a 5-minute thing,
Yeah,
and the
good.
time saving comes later.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I play among different tools as well, but I also have favorites, and I love building GPTs for people because it's easy for them to use. Right. So this is about what it's about. We want to make your life easier.
May I add a layer about prompt improving that Jennifer asked?
Yes, prompt improving is important. Well, as we like to say, Simon, garbage in and garbage out, right?
Yeah, that's